Quick question. David Warner fancies which team the most in the IPL? The answer is Punjab Kings. He averages the most against them, and considering Sunrisers Hyderabad have not found their points in the group so far, maybe it's this match that the Hyderabad fans are waiting for. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Criclytics Man vs Machine, and we have the former England captain joining us, Mark Butcher. You captained England for that one test in '99. I mean, it was Nasser Hussain who felt sick, I think, in that day. But Mark, good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you too. Yeah, Natter's poppadom fingers, that was. He broke the finger at Lords, and I took over for one game. The Manchester weather saved us from sure defeat against New Zealand. So undefeated England captain.
Amazing to talk to you again. We'll get straight into the mix because it's a Wednesday double header. It's a Wicket Wednesday is what we're calling it back in India. And in particular, we're going to be talking about Punjab versus Hyderabad, the afternoon encounter which comes from Chennai. The teams have shifted base now. Speaking of which, Punjab's Pacers, who of course were pocketed for big money in the auction, mind you, Mark, Jai Richardson and not to forget Riley Meredith, they in turn had the most expensive figures in this year's IPL 2021 at the Wankhede. Now they're shifting base. Do you think they should chop and change or still give them a longer rope?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting one. I mean, Richardson's he's gone okay. He's picked up wickets, but as you say, has been expensive. Riley Meredith has kind of not really shown a great deal, so they might look at swapping him out. I guess the question is who for? Again, I've been impressed with Arshdeep Singh. He's done a wonderful job, and Mohammad Shami really does need to come to the party. I suppose that the one thing is moving to Chennai, that they might feel that the quicker bowlers, if they've got good enough variations and slower balls, might well find life a little bit easier there. So I wouldn't expect there to be too many changes, if I'm honest with you. Okay,
let's see how that peters out, of course. Let's stick with the Punjab Kings for a little bit longer because I want to talk about two flamboyant players who play, of course, for them, and that's Rahul, the captain, first and foremost. What have you made of him? Because every time he gets off to a start, he simply doesn't have that 5th, 6th gear to catch up.
Yeah, I'm really sort of surprised by that. I don't know whether because he's captain he feels like he has more responsibility to bat all the way through the innings, or whether or not he simply doesn't trust the players coming in behind him. I would suggest that if it's the latter, that's a bad move. Chris Gayle at number 3 is an interesting one for me because we all know, having watched Gayle over the years, that sometimes he likes to just take 20 balls to get himself in before he starts to launch. You can't do that batting at number 3. You have to come in and switch on straight away. So that's a difficult position for him to bat it. And then, of course, you've got Nicholas Pooran, who hasn't really had a massive chance to show what he can do down the order. My suggestion would be this, is that KL Rahul doesn't worry about batting through the innings. If he gets off to a flyer, keep banging, trust that Chris Gayle will be able to come in and pick up the tempo. Then you've got Huda, you've got Pooran after that. They do have enough to keep going. Interestingly, though, they might have to change all of that strategy going to Chennai because, we've seen totals of around 150 be enough. So it's very, very tricky. They've just got used to sort of getting a pasting, not scoring enough runs at the Wankhede. And now all of a sudden, the way that KL Rahul played might be exactly what they need if the pitch is slightly dusty in Chennai. Tough one, but all I would say is trust the guys coming in behind you a little bit more than he has done at this point.
So just to reiterate, Mark, would you split Huda with the two West Indian left-handers and Gayle at 3, Huda at 4 and Pooran at 5 is what we've been seeing, or would you perhaps push Pooran up the order, considering he has a fantastic record against spin?
Well, I mean, that's what they've done, isn't it? They've tried to keep the two left-handers apart. I think, most teams will have 2 or 3 batsmen padded up and send in the guy they think is absolutely right for the situation. So I don't think that they've done anything particularly wrong. I just think that they've been too slow. They haven't kept the foot on the gas and not worried if they've lost a wicket by doing that. In which case, Nicholas Pooran coming in at 5 finds himself with not enough deliveries to make a real impact at the back end of the innings. So I think it's more an approach than the order itself.
Yeah, let's see what happens with Anil Kumble, and if he does, of course, bring the changes in. Let's talk about, of course, their opponents in this one, and that's Sunrisers Hyderabad. So far, it's been a dreadful comp for them. The woes are evident, middle order batting in particular. You have to bring Kane Williamson into the equation.
Yeah, you do. And unfortunately, that means they probably have to leave out Mujib I think Johnny Bairstow and Warner plays his captain, so that's that taken care of. Bairstow has the most runs for them at the moment, so they're unlikely to lose him. And the way that I think that I would go about doing it is this. I've made a couple of notes. That Majid goes out, Kane Williamson in, so there's your fourth overseas player. And then the middle order is very inexperienced, and they've kind of struggled in the tournament so far. So I'd leave out Virat Singh and bring in Kedar Yadav, who offers, hitting and spin to sort of make up for the overs that they'd lose by losing Majid. And then that way they get to balance up the middle order, got a bit more experience, and they don't lose too much in terms of experience and wiliness if they need to take the pace off. So that's how I'd be looking at it.
Yeah, it's a good shout, that. The fact that they've been using Abhishek Sharma as well. He's a left-hander, but he doesn't have the experience, like you said, that Kedar brings on board. Right, time to get into the Criclytics Man versus Machine then, Mark, because so far you've been down and out, 6-2 to be particular in terms of facing up against our Criclytics. Hopefully it's 6-6 and 7-6 and you get the lead, and then the robot plays catch up. What do we have in terms of batsmen today for your selections? Let me just give you a hint what Criclytics has gone with, because there's quite a few great names. As you know, you can't choose Puran, you can't choose KL Rahul. The Machine has gone with Chris Gale and a man that you just mentioned, Kane Williamson.
I'll have Mayank Agarwal.
Okay.
And I'll have the captain David Warner. He was pretty upset after the last loss, and I think that he's due. So I'm going to go for the Aussie.
Okay, the Aussie and Mayank Agarwal, of course, who did really well the last time out, barring, of course, that hideous dismissal that he got the match before. Bowlers, what do you have up your sleeves? Because again, it's looking solid from a Criclytics perspective, Mark. Jai Richardson and Rashid Khan.
I'm gonna go for Shami and Rashid Khan.
Okay, Shami and Rashid Khan. Shami, of course, has been bowling the critical over, so maybe he can get you a point in that regard. All-rounders then, and I want you to tell me your prediction before I tell you what the Machine suggests.
Oh, that's not fair. Now you're asking me a question that I don't know the answer to.
So would you stick with Vijay Shankar?
No, I will stick with that.
Yeah. So Vijay Shankar
had a good game last time out.
Yeah, he had a decent outing in terms of all your fantasy picks as well. He's a good bet to take on. So it's safe to say that you go with Vijay Shankar. And if Nabi or Holder plays, I think Criclytics will get it right and hopefully top in that regard. Wicket-keepers. This is your favourite part of the show. You can go with 2 picks. We'll give you 2 picks. There are, of course, great batsmen out there. You mentioned Bairstow. Would you go for Bairstow and perhaps KL Rahul?
That's exactly who I'm going for. Yeah, both of those.
Okay, I would just love it if Nicholas Puran did what he did against SRH in 2020. He smashed them, Butch. 77 of 37 is what he got the last time out. Carting sixes for fun. And yes, against Rashid Khan too. So let's see if Nicholas Puran is the top wicketkeeper in this one. Time to pick a winner. Yep. Yeah, time to pick a winner then, because this is where it really matters. It's neck and neck in this one. 52% Punjab. Are you going to be siding with the Reds, so to speak?
I'm not. No, I'm going to go with SRH. I think it's highly, highly unlikely that they're going to lose 4 on the bounce. So I'm going to go with SRH in this one.
Yeah, remember last time in the IPL, the 2020 comp that is, of course, they got off a shocking start and then they played catch-up cricket and how to get eventually third. Do you see that sort of tale panning out once again for them?
Yeah, I think it's possible. Of course it is. I mean, they've got fabulous players in that team. They're perhaps a little bit light in the fast bowling front, aren't they? Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, who was unplayable. Well, England found him unplayable in the T20 series, has been very quiet so far. And perhaps Chennai will suit them a little bit better than Wankhede did. I don't know, but listen, all the while that you've got guys who can bang it like Bairstow, Rashid Khan with bat and ball. I mean, how he doesn't qualify as an all-rounder, I don't know. But they're in with a chance. That is for certain. But I think down in the bottom half, any of those teams can beat anybody. It's not a foregone conclusion.
Right, so that was Mark Butcher just shedding light on Punjab, Hyderabad. It's going to be one of those fierce competitions, taking part, of course, in Chennai. Who's going to win? You can check out all of it on cricket.com in terms of over of our prediction, and it is quite something.